My name is Christopher Lane, and I am a certified personal trainer. I am based in Los Angeles. And I wanted to give you guys, before I get started today, a little background on how I got involved in the fitness industry. I think one of the things that's important to note is that I grew up as an overweight child. Going into adolescence, I was about 30 or 40 pounds overweight, and I think that definitely affected the way that I viewed life, and I think it really shaped my view of things. But fortunately, like he said, I got involved in sports, and then I got really involved in sports. And I ended up at Arizona with a degree in ecology and evolutionary biology, and I don't know what it is either. But, you know, towards the end of my college career, I really had decided that I was really interested in sports psychology. So the plan after I graduated was to take a year off. I moved overseas to coach internationally. And then I was going to return to grad school and get my master's degree in sports psychology and then go on to get a PhD. Well, it didn't really work out that way. My year abroad, I became less and less interested in grad school and more interested in the entertainment industry. So upon my arrival back to the United States, I called my parents and I said, "Mom, Dad, don't think I want to go to grad school. I think I want to be an actor." Now, I know some of you guys have kids, and that's probably not the phone call that you want to get from your 21-year-old son, but, you know, I was dumb. And so I traveled around the U.S. for a bit, and I found myself in Dallas, of all places, and I was working as a model in Dallas, which was horrible. But luckily for me, right outside of where I lived was the Cooper Institute. And the Cooper Institute is this giant fitness university. And Kenneth Cooper is the guy who coined the term aerobics. So fortunately for me, I had this opportunity, and I went to the Cooper Institute, and I became a certified trainer. And I also got a specialist degree in the biomechanics of resistance training. I knew that Dallas wasn't for me, so I wanted to head to Los Angeles because I knew that was kind of the hotbed for personal training. So I did some research, and I found out which gyms were the best in Los Angeles, and specifically which gyms paid their trainers the most. And 2 months later, I ended up working at Crunch Fitness on Sunset Boulevard, and at the time, that was kind of the biggest gym in LA. It was where all the celebrities worked out, and it was really like the hot place to be. And what I found there was that not only did I enjoy what I was doing, I really had a passion for it. And LA is, it's an interesting place for personal trainers. We have 100,000 personal trainers in the greater Los Angeles area. But what I found is that very few of them are really passionate or educated about what they're doing. And so, you know, it was here that I realized what I was doing in training was kind of incorporating all the things that I'd ever really wanted to do. It's sports psychology, it's personal psychology, and it was set in the middle of the, you know, entertainment industry capital. So I was thrilled, but I started to realize that I could actually have a career at this. So I left the gym industry and I went private. I started my own private company. And when a trainer goes private, it basically just means they start their own company, and then you can go to, there are different private training facilities where you can rent space, and you just pay per client. And it was in one of those private facilities that I met an up-and-coming fitness personality, and her name was Jillian Michaels. And at the time, she had just done a deal with NBC where she was going to be the trainer on this new show called The Biggest Loser. So Jill called me up one day and she said, "You know, I want to hire you to get me in shape for the show." So I started working with Jill, and I know that that's a weird concept that trainers need trainers as well, but I think on that level, I think it's a testament to what we do as trainers. You can only push yourself so hard, and for her, you know, here's somebody that's going to appear on national television every single week. She wanted to look as the best that she could. So I started working with Jill, and through all of that, you know, things started to snowball for me. I ended up getting some celebrity clientele, and unfortunately in LA, that is validation. It's not really how great you are or if you really know what you're doing. It's, you know, if your client's on the cover of Maxim, you obviously are doing something right. So, you know, my business started to take off, and it led to a lot of things for me. I now currently still own my own company. I'm working still and have been for the last couple years on The Biggest Loser. Jill and Bob, who are the on-camera personalities for that show, have become very successful. Both of them have created their own fitness empires, but because of that success and because of their obligations to the show, they're not there a lot. They're traveling and they're doing interviews, and so they each have a backup trainer. Bob has a backup trainer, and Jill has a backup trainer, which is what I do. So a lot of my time is spent on The Biggest Loser Ranch working with those contestants. And I just finished my first book, and I will be starting a speaking tour, which is kind of what led to me being here today. You know, when I was asked to speak here today, it was really under the premise that I'd be discussing the importance of fitness and how it relates to business. You know, that link between personal fitness and personal success in business is something that entrepreneurial educators have been studying for years. In fact, Dr. Karatko and Dr. Goldsby, or Mr. Goldsby, are some of the foremost leaders in entrepreneurial research. They even published a study that concluded there was viable empirical evidence that this relationship exists. And one of their conclusions from that study is that our findings suggest that exercise, in fact, does help entrepreneurs in meeting both their intrinsic and extrinsic goals. And there's been a lot of studies that have been done that can corroborate that and that agree that there's a significant relationship between success and fitness. And I can attest to those from my own experiences with clients. But I think that really leads to the question is, how do you quantify success? You know, can you put a specific number on your health, or can you put a specific number on happiness? And so for me, what I do as a trainer, when I think about success, it's not, I mean, obviously I want you to be successful. I want you to be successful in your careers, and I want you to be successful, you know, financially. But what you can't quantify is really something that I'm really interested in, is making sure that you are feeling fulfilled, making sure that you are happy, and making sure that you're healthy. And so I think that when we talk about success, you know, that's something that really needs to be looked at. And the truth is, fitness can be linked to success in all of those areas. And I don't really think that many of us find that surprising. I think there's been a big shift in realism about fitness. I think that we know that there are major benefits for ourselves and for our businesses with fitness. You know, we all know that fitness can improve your productivity, it can improve your efficiency, it can be a really great motivational tool. You know, as far as businesses are concerned, it's a great team building thing. I know a lot of corporations are putting, you know, a weight loss program together, and you can do it as a team, or they have Weight Watchers within the setting of their corporation. And, you know, aside from that, all of those things, we're talking about decreased health risks, and the insurance companies, if you run your own business, you know, your insurance overheads are insane these days, and the insurance companies are really jumping on the fitness craze and giving incentives, that's what they're calling them, for different, you know, consumer-driven fitness assessments. But we all get it. You know, we know that fitness is a good thing. I would have to say that in the last 10 years, my experience has been people coming up to me and they're not asking me, why should I? That's not the problem. The question that they're asking me is, how can I? And I think that that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys today about is, you know, how do we develop your fitness strategy? You know, where do we start? You know, the biggest problem that I face, especially now, is that it's not a lack of information. It's just the opposite. There's an overabundance of information. We are inundated with fitness products, and we're inundated with the newest and the latest pill, and this is going to help you lose weight super fast. And the fitness industry is a multi-billion-dollar fitness industry. It's massive, and there's a disconnect going on because as a nation, we're getting fatter and fatter, and we have all of these fitness products that are out there, and we have all of these different tools that are supposed to help us, and something's being overlooked. And really what I feel like is being overlooked is just the basics. Nobody wants to talk about the basics of fitness. They don't want to talk about the fact that it's not going to be easy. You can't take a pill. You're going to have to work out. You're going to have to eat better. And all of those basics really boil down to some really simple facts. And a lot of times, even when I'm dealing with doctors, I have clients that are the heads of pathology at Cedars-Sinai and the heads of pathology at Kaiser. And when I'm talking to them, and they don't know some of the very basic elements of how calories in food is related to weight loss, or for that matter, weight gain. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is really some of these basic things, like the way that we talk about calories is, we talk about it in the wrong way. What is a calorie? Well, it's a unit of energy. Okay, I get that. But a calorie is not tangible. You can't hold a group of calories. And we take a look at like the packages of food. We want to count our calories. We look at the back of it, and it says there are this many calories in this package. Like, for instance, a package of ramen noodles. You turn it over, it says there are 380 calories. Well, there aren't 380 calories in that. What that's saying is that it's going to take 380 calories of energy to burn off those ramen noodles. It's a measurement. And so how do calories relate to weight loss and weight gain? Well, this is the one thing I want you guys to remember. If you take anything away from what I said, it's 3,500. That is the amount of calories that you need to burn to lose 1 pound. It's a pretty simple equation. You want to lose 5 pounds, then you're going to end up having to burn 17,500 calories. But I think what a lot of people want to or don't understand is, how specifically this is going to relate to them. And the thing is, we're all different. We all have different goals. Some people want to lose 10 pounds. Some people want to lose 50 pounds. Some people want to just maintain their weight. And how does that relate on just a basic level? Well, you have to understand your own body. And there's something about that. We all have a baseline, and that baseline is something that we all should know. We should all know that we have our own starting point, and it's all different depending on who you are. And we should all know what our BMR is. Well, what is a BMR? A BMR is your basal metabolic rate, and we all have one that is different from everybody else. And basically, your BMR is the amount of calories that you burn just being you. Like, if you were to lie in bed all day long and not move and not eat and not do anything, your body still burns a specific amount of calories. And this is your baseline. This is where you're starting out. So how do we find it? Well, there's a Harris-Benedict formula, which is math and equations, and that's complicated. Just Google it. Get online. Look online. 15 different things pop up. And you can literally plug in some really basic things. So, let's use an example. This is my client, Gail. She has been, stand up for me. Gail has been with me, training with me for 7 years now. And one of the things that I will tell you about is that Gail just turned 50. And, congrats. She looks amazing. And that, to me, is I want to say that when I turn 50, I look, I'm in the best shape of my life. But, okay. Besides all that, Gail has agreed to share her own statistics. So we know that Gail is a female. She's 50 years old. She weighs 115 pounds, and she's 5'2" tall. So we plug all of that. We go online. We find out what a BMR is. We go to one of those programs. Just click on it. We put this information in it, and then it's going to tell us that Gail's BMR is 1,216 calories. So if Gail lies in bed and doesn't do anything, she burns 1,216 calories. Well, let's say that Gail wants to lose 2 pounds. So we know that 2 pounds is equal to 7,000 calories, but she eats our ADA requirement of 2,000 calories daily. We know that she works out 1 hour, and she's burning 500 calories. So with her BMR at 1216, her daily burn is at 17 1,716 calories. So that means to break even, for her to maintain her weight right now, she needs to burn an additional 284 calories. But burning 284 calories is something that you do pretty easily. I've probably burnt 284 calories just standing up here in front of you. So we know that Gail is a set designer. And what she does is she basically draws sets all day, and so she's kind of sedentary, but she also runs in between sound stages, and she moves. So at the very least, and this is lowballing the situation, she burns 700 calories just in her daily activities. So daily, she's created a 500-calorie deficit, which essentially means that in 14 days, Gail will have lost 2 pounds. What I'm talking about here is basic law of thermodynamics. I am a calorie counter. I know a lot of that doesn't appeal to you guys, but I work on a television show where we have 300 and 400-pound people, and we monitor what they do, we monitor what they eat, and we monitor their exercise, and I've seen it firsthand. I mean, I would love to tell you that there's another way around it, but the truth is, this is really basic. I'm not reinventing the wheel. Calories in versus calories out. What do I put in my body versus the energy expended? And so, people are like, what is your personal training philosophy? Count your calories, when it comes to diet. But I think that the question that we ask ourselves now is what role does diet versus exercise play? And this is something I was just alluding to on the show. We have these really big contestants. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, this season we have a guy who's 454 pounds. But in general, our contestants range from about 250 to 400. And what we do for the show, I mean, obviously, you can tell from the example that I just gave, it is way easier to adjust your diet and make a difference in your weight than it is to utilize exercise to do that. I know that's weird for me to say that coming from a personal trainer, but ultimately, you exercise, a general rule of thumb is if you exercise really hard for 10 minutes, you're burning 100 calories. But it's easier for you to cut your diet and watch your food and really adjust your calories that way. But what we do on the show is we eliminate a variable. We say, okay, you're 300 pounds, you're 400 pounds, we're giving them a diet specifically for that day of 1,400 calories or 1,200 calories. And all of these contestants are baselined within 200 calories of each other. So we know what they're eating. So we just eliminate that variable. So when you're watching the show, their weight loss obviously is due to a great diet, but they all have that same diet. So when you see that show, it really is about the exercise. It is about the extra burn. And it's not reality, folks. These people don't have jobs. They're sequestered on a ranch, and they work out 6 to 7 hours a day. So, yeah, it's intense. But you see that kind of weight loss, and it really is. It's all about those calories. And they wear body bugs. And one of the questions I ask them all the time is, halfway through our session, what's your burn? What's your burn? And they can click on it, and they can tell me, well, right now I've burnt 4,000 calories. And I'll be like, okay, well, let me know when you're at, 6,500 calories before I even leave. I'm saying, like, that day, I make sure that they've burnt almost 2 pounds off of their body before I even leave the ranch. But you guys understand the concept there. So why is exercise really valuable? Absolutely. For your cardiovascular health, for your overall health, and to reduce your stress, absolutely exercise is 1,000% necessary. But, and as it relates to success in business, like I said, all of the studies that have been done, they can't, the studies that were done by Dr. Karatko and Mr. Goldsmith, Dr. Goldsmith, there we go. Those were all done based off of participants who had participated in a rigorous exercise routine. So, you finally go to the gym. Now what? You're looking at a lot of one of the major questions that I get from people is, what do I do at the gym? How do I maximize my time? I'm here for an hour. Should I be doing cardio equipment? Should I be doing weights? What is the way forward? And my answer to that is you got to do both. I would love to tell you it's one or the other, but it's not. Your body right now has a homeostasis. It has a level that it wants to be at. And so the benefits of cardio and of weightlifting are really based around that homeostasis. In the sense that, like, when I do cardio equipment, I elevate my heart rate, and I get up to, 140 beats per minute, 150 beats per minute, and I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm working hard and I'm sweating. Well, obviously your level has been changed. But when you do cardio, your body actually responds and it wants to get back down to its main level. And it gets back down to its main level a lot faster than when you do weights. And this is why I always say weights are necessary, especially for women as we get older, like we need to work on our bone density. It's important to lift weights. But there's something that's called an afterburn. When you lift weights, and I'm doing like a chest press or I'm doing bicep curls, you're using all these other ancillary muscles. And when those muscles are being strained and they're working, they get these little micro tears in them. And so what happens is your body wants to get back to that homeostasis, and it's a lot easier for your body to get back to that main level after doing cardio, because once you're doing weights, then it has to heal all these little micro tears, and the other muscles that have been strained have to work. So once you leave the gym, your metabolism is still high, and it's taking a lot longer for your body to be able to get back down to that mean level. So the afterburn effect of lifting weights means 5 hours after I lifted, I'm still at an elevated rate. I am still getting a benefit from my workout. Whereas if you're doing cardio workouts, sole cardio workouts, the afterburn effect is gone after an hour. So this is where theory versus action. I can talk to you until I'm blue in the face about the benefits of fitness or what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing, but ultimately, it comes down to you. This is the point where you have to decide that, this is going to be something that's beneficial for me. And I can't make that decision for you. This has to be about your own motivation. And I think that one of the biggest questions I get specifically about Biggest Loser is, what are the statistics on do these people keep their weight off? You see these people that have lost 100 pounds, 200 pounds, and they look fantastic, but over the seasons, who has kept the weight off? And I could probably tell you in every single season, even when I'm working with them, who will and who won't keep the weight off. Because it's about whether or not they get it. And when I say they get it, I mean they're doing it for the right reasons. And I think that anybody who starts in this process, you have to really identify why the reasons you want to lose weight or you want to get healthy and what they are. And it has to be intrinsic. I would love to tell you that, it should be, success and financial success should motivate you, and it can. You can use that as a motivational tool, but it has to really be about, I want to be healthy for me. You can't lose weight or be healthy for your children. It's a motivating fact, but ultimately it's about you. You have to be, really. You have to change your own outlook, and you have to say that this is something that I understand, that I want. And, whether there's, with the show, with Loser, there's $250,000 attached to it, which is, it's a big motivator. But when you're doing this for the money, or you're doing it because you want to look better, and you're not really identifying, the intrinsic, what is it about this? Do I understand that this is something that's going to be positive for me? Do I really want to change? Then it doesn't happen. I mean, it can, but it doesn't last. So you got to make the time. You have to decide that you want to make an obligation to yourself. You have to make your health a priority. And, especially with my business professionals that I work with, the big thing is, I don't have time. I'm working 80-hour weeks. I have kids to take care of. And I can appreciate that. I mean, I don't have children. I don't have that kind of an obligation, but I can appreciate people being busy. I understand that. But it has to be, and this is what I just said, it has to be about you. You have to make that choice. And when you have kids, this is when you lead by example. What are we teaching our young people? A lot of physical education programs have been removed from schools. Obviously, one of my big issues is that we don't have the basic education. I mean, I should have known at 12 years old how many calories were in a pound. I should have known about what my BMR is, but I didn't learn that until my early 20s. So the education for our young people has to come from someplace. And this is where you can lead by example. You can teach your children these things, and your children are going to see mom and dad are taking time for themselves to get healthy. It is obviously something that is important. And I think that that's a really big lesson, especially if, I wish that I had known a lot of the things that I know now when I was younger. I think it would have made my adolescence a lot easier. And in regards to food, guys, you got to write it down. If this is a weight loss program, I would love to tell you something different. You have to write it down because you need to be accountable for what you ate. A lot of what we eat is unconscious. We don't realize, well, okay, for breakfast I had this. But you forget about the fact that you went through Starbucks on the way into work. That coffee drink has calories in it. Everything has these calories that add up. You need to be aware of it. And if you're not going to write it down, which I know a lot of people that is way beyond what they want to do, you got to pay attention. Acknowledge it. We all know now how the calorie system works. And as far as a workout plan goes, you got to do some research. I would love to set each and every one of your workouts and tell you what specifically you need to do. But, do some research. Get a book. Talk to your doctor, especially before you start a workout program. You got to talk to your doctor. Or talk to a trainer. Talk to an expert. The surprising truth is, and this is a fitness insider secret, all the major diet programs and workout books actually work. And I know in a training community, people are like, what? The truth is, all of these books work. All of these diet programs, whether it's Nutrisystem, whether it's Weight Watchers, or it's Jenny Craig, and all of these books, like Body for Life, or if you want to buy one of Jill's books or Bob's books, they all work. They've all gone through major doctors. They've all talked to major nutritionists. There's a legal ramification for all of these things. They all work, but only if you work them. And what I mean by that is that it's about consistency. Anytime you're consistent with something, that's when you're successful. Consistency is more than key. It really is everything. And I see that so often that people are like, well, which program is better? Which diet program is better? And very honestly, if something is working for you, that's positive. I don't want to take away from that. Let's continue on with that. Just be consistent. And, there are a lot of people, I know Oprah right now is talking about, falling off the wagon. Well, falling off the wagon, the rebound is almost as important as being consistent. Life isn't consistent. But my big question for my clients is, do you live your life or does it live you? And I think that's something we have to ask ourselves. Am I living my life or is it living me? And, when a lot of people, I have clients that tell me, Saturday morning I had to go to this brunch meeting, or I had this crazy brunch and I really just threw my diet out the window. So I figured I would start up again on Monday because the weekend was shot. And, I always use the analogy, if you're driving down the highway and one of your tires blows out, do you get outside of your car, take a gun, and shoot out the other three because the one's blown? Or do you fix the tire and carry on down the highway? I mean, that's what it's about. You're going to have setbacks, but it's about getting back on that highway and moving forward. So what is the real connection between fitness and success? Well, in my opinion and in my experience, it's really just about personal empowerment. It's about taking control over something that you have control over. This is one of the things. Your personal health, your eating, your fitness is something that you absolutely have control over. And when you take control over that, it makes you empowered. And empowerment is one of the most motivational emotions that we have. Feeling empowered is, I think everybody wants that, and I think that really does lead to success. So where are we today? Where does all this leave us? We know that there are scientific empirical data that links exercise to success. Some of the keynote speakers that you've heard previous to me have actually published those results. We know that the basic breakdown of food in calories, and we understand the basic laws of thermodynamics, calories in versus calories out. So we have a starting point. We know what we're dealing with in terms of food. We know that there has to be a major commitment to the gym and consistency in order to change your overall health. We know that the major benefit of working your fitness strategy is personal empowerment. And personal empowerment leads to success not only in business, but also in life. And so, my hope for you guys is that, maybe this enlightened you a little bit on some of the basics of fitness. Maybe it gave you an idea of where we're starting or where to start. And hopefully you feel like this isn't something that is unattainable. It's a new year. We all have New Year's resolutions. One of the biggest New Year's resolutions out there is usually about your health and your fitness. And I want that for you guys this year. I would love for you guys to feel healthier and be healthier and feel empowered, because I think that that's really where success comes from. So I want to open it up. If there are any questions that you guys have regarding fitness or the show even, definitely.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
About 14 years ago, I was about 245 pounds.
Wow.
What was the reason for that? The reason for that is that I consider myself an income-producing asset. I produce the income, and if I'm not well, I can't produce the income. So I applaud your message. It is very difficult. It's not easy to make the time. 4 days a week, sometimes 5, I go to a health club, and I run a treadmill. I do some strength training. So I encourage everyone to do this. Having owned my own business for over 30 years, and recognizing when I look at my balance sheet, I want to make sure I'm there. Last year, we had a young man come to our university who was one of the biggest losers, topping 400 pounds. He brought a pair of trousers with him. He also brought with him a picture of himself and what he looks like now. We had about 70 students in a lecture hall listening to his story and what it meant, and how people looked at him and even talked to him after he changed his entire image and brand. So the message there was delivered by one of our former students who wrote a book called The Brand You. Hodge Fleming brought this gentleman with him. And he used the program he spoke about, Big Loser, to start his business. I guess, what's the question? Who's saying what?
No,
I'm just trying to give a testimonial for something that I consider to be so much. And when I do seminars, workshops around the country, when I've done them for many years, one of the things I talk about is spirituality. If you really care about yourself, if you really care about your family, look at yourself in the mirror. And for my advice for USASBE is never do what you've been doing on the other side of that wall in the morning. Never, never again will you serve what you served on the other side. It is dangerous. Don't do it. And I advise you to take a very close look at the menu. Because if you don't, the calories and the carbs on the other side of that food is there. And the epidemic of type 2 diabetes amongst our young people, teenagers, is absolutely unbelievable around the world. So, again, I guess I'm preaching a little bit, but I believe...
no. I think all of us applaud you for.
And also I want to thank USASBE for having the insight to bring you here everybody that is here will carry the message and become a disciple.
Well, thank you for sharing, especially and congratulations on your own weight loss. I think that right there is a testament to what, it's kind of, everything that I've been saying, and I appreciate you standing up and saying it. Back here? Right. Well, what you're craving specifically is carbohydrates. Sugar is a carb. Well, I think what I would tell you is that exercise and actually weightlifting is going to increase your energy. I think that you're going to feel a definite boost in your. If you're saying that you're kind of lethargic right now, I think that that's definitely going to increase that. I think that's, there are a bunch of scientific studies that will say that. But, Gail is 50. I think that she can attest to, her energy level, once she started on a weightlifting program. But, for somebody like you, there are different types of the way that we oxidize food. How we metabolize food. And you're a fast oxidizer. And obviously because you don't have a problem with weight, and you're saying that you're craving sugar, and sugar is a carb. Food is only made up of 3 parts. You've got carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And in that order is how we metabolize them. You're going to metabolize carbohydrates first, you're going to metabolize proteins second, and fats third. And they each also have a caloric allocation. Like, for 1 gram of carbs, there's 4 calories, 1 gram of protein, 4 calories, 1 gram of fat, 9 calories, but that's getting a little bit more intense. What I would tell you is that I would definitely do, a regimen of like 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fat. But for somebody like yourself, I think that what I would do would be to increase my carbohydrates a little bit more, skew that percentage a little bit more towards carbohydrates initially because you are a fast oxidizer, and then I would stay away from first of all, anything white and bleached is horrible. You need complex carbs, you need whole grains, and you need to, I would substitute, if you're buying bread, I would get sprouted whole grain breads, stuff that's going to be harder for your body to break down. And that is going to sustain you for longer, but I also think that that's going to really benefit you as far as your energy is concerned, and definitely get into the gym. Maybe it's one of those things where in the morning you get in the gym, you take a protein shake, you go through a lifting program, but I definitely think that will help you. Okay? Sure. Well, fitness centers and gyms are just loving that because, that's how they make money. But as a trainer, and how do we keep people motivated with that? I think it's taking a look at the big picture. You might have had a really bad week, but you have one bad week in a month, you're still doing well. If you have 5 bad days out of the month, you know, you still had 25, 26 good ones. It's about realigning that perspective. And I think that it's the one thing, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff can be going on in your life. But this is something that, like, you know, a lot of really bad stuff can be going on in your life. You can be struggling, and I know that I've had this with myself. The one thing that I can control at the end of that week was, okay, I went to the gym. Every single day I did something positive for myself. And it's about understanding that and trying to move. Yesterday I didn't go to the gym. You know, I'm going to start, and you go today. You know, there's a great feeling of knowing that you've worked hard or that you already have done something positive for yourself. If you went in the morning, you know, that's, to me, is about regaining your control. So I think you know, it's hard. How do you stay committed? I think, like I said, you have to get it. You have to want it, and you have to identify what it is why you want to be committed. And I don't know. I think it's probably one of the biggest questions, and I don't really have an answer for it. I wish I did. I'd be in a different place. Back here. Yeah, well, I mean, National Gym... Right. Well, I agree with you, and that's why I don't actually work for gyms, because I don't really feel like gym corporations, they're a business, and they're in the business of making money. They're in the business of wanting you to fail because they can sign other people up, or they keep continuing to sign you up, and you keep paying them, and you're not going to the gym. That's good business. I'm making money, and I don't really have to do anything. And I don't work in that environment because I don't feel like, specifically for me, it was geared towards the health of my client. And that is really what I'm concerned with. It's about wanting my client to succeed. I want to see you change. You know, and when I was working in gyms, especially as a trainer, you know, they want me to pull in money. They want me constantly to bring in sales, and I get it. But I don't know where it is that you live specifically. I know that I'm really picky with the gyms that I work out in because this is what I do. And I'm also a germaphobe, which is kind of crazy considering that I deal with sweaty people constantly. But, you know, I definitely, like, I'm really picky with the gyms that I go to. So I look around, find one that you like, or talk to the manager. You pay them money. So... Yeah, I agree. I think that's why, you know, it helps, especially with Biggest Loser, we have, you know, you have teams and you have people going through it with you. Yeah. does help. All right, maybe one more question. Do we have one more question? All right, back there. Yes. Did you work out this weekend? Did you know that there was a fitness center here? Do they serve salads at the restaurants? Because I had a salad. I had a great meal last night. I went to Morton's. Loved Morton's. Had a salad. You know, I'll run today before I leave, or I'll run before I speak because, you know, it helps me with stress. So yeah, I do. I have plenty of suggestions. But it really is about that. You know, like for me, I'm a no excuse trainer. There, you will have gyms, and that, to me, that's kind of exciting. I get to explore the different gyms when I'm traveling. You know, that's my comfort zone. That's where I work. You know, I mean, this to me is uncomfortable. I wear gym shorts and a t-shirt every day to work. I mean, that's why I love my job. But you know, gyms are comfortable, and you can explore the different ones. And the more confident you get in the gym, you know, the more of a touchstone that's going to be for your own comfort level when you're traveling. Get in the gym, work off the stress. You might be in an uncomfortable environment, but at least you know gyms. All right. Thank you guys so much for having me.
I think I need to hire Chris, but another story. Chris, thank you very much.